Our Terradon riders, both variants and a good press 6.3. Let's go over the sky jockeys and see how they benefit your forces. First one shot out of the sky is a rotten egg. Recruited for 600 gold and 150 upkeep, the regulars come on Ultra with 10 models and 3,720 health between them. While this is by design, some of you have complained about the models not being a higher count of them, like 12 or something. And you make a good point, it does hold them back. For now, by design. Armor is a flimsy 15, with missile resistance 15% as balm on the wound. Leadership 55 isn't that high, but isn't complete trash. Speed and charge speed 90 make them fast, but not highest in-game by a long shot. Not the regulars, at least. Melee attack 26 isn't as bad as it could be. Attack interval to standard 4, splash target size small, so infantry only, max target splash 4, which is extremely diluted. Melee defense 22 is low, simple as that. Weapon strength 65 is split base 52 and armor piercing 13, so it's very heavily tilted towards savaging low armored units. Charge bonus 16 and mass 400, which is a liability. For ranged, 26 volleys of javelins, range 90, which isn't far, missile damage is 67 nominally, and each javelin carries poison. I did not say the melee attack carries poison because by default they do not. Each actual impact is base 27 and armor piercing 13 damage, so while it's base tilted, it's a fair chunk of armor piercing too. It's 1 javelin per chucking, reload time 6, total accuracy 20, calibration distance 50 meters, calibration area 2.5 meters, which defies pinpoint attacking, and small penetration cap, mass targets poked after the first of 2. Drop rocks is inherent to the unit, one use if not playing Tiktaq'to, and behold the stats here. It's a bonus. It provides cheap anti-blob support. It's better to have than not. The unit has the Primal Instincts passive if under 50% and still willing to fight at all, fire whilst moving, 360 degree fire, causes fear, and woodsman, allowing phasing through trees, and supposedly eliminating combat penalties in forest, but they need to clean up some stuff like that. See Forest Strider on other units. The Fireleech Bola's variant changes things up a fair bit. Aside from 750 gold recruit and 188 upkeep, or fully equal to an unshielded source infantry unit, everything's identical until we get to the ranged weapon. Ammunition is 22 or 4 less, range 80 or 10 less, strength is officially 66 or 1 less, and flaming attack each and every time, dryads beware. Direct hits are base 11 and armor piercing 4 damage, but there's a detonation radius of 4 meters, which isn't even that bad. And within that, explosion damage is base 27, armor piercing 11, and thus heavily tilted toward annihilating lower armored units. Reload time of 8 seconds is 2 worse, it should be noted. Total accuracy is 20 again, and that rises with veterancy, calibration distance 45 to match the reduced range, calibration area 6 meters, meaning substantially more drift. It is an anti-unit weapon, never a reliable anti-character weapon. And despite the nature of the weapon, there is a small pen cap and max 2 targets penned after the first before going boom. This is mostly relevant to firing at, let's say, harpies or fellbats, and they hate it. In the redline skills, 3 pips of Swift Rider provides plus 10% speed, plus 8% weapon strength, and for them specifically, plus 8% missile strength. At rank 7 and up, Soulbound gives melee attack plus 5 and melee defense plus 5, and missile resistance 15%, and if they survive that long, you want the help. In the tech tree, they don't get that much help. So I had this pointed out to me. I'd misread sequence of exotic weapons. The minus 4 base damage and plus 4 armor piercing is for the missile weapons specifically. Oh well, it was a video on the whole tech tree at first. It was a long video. Anyway, that's for direct impacts as far as I know. But it's still very welcome. The Sky is Burning, love the name, grants speed plus 10% and plus 20% total speed on these guys is good. And the tech provides plus 10 melee attack to both variants, which is fascinating. Enhanced Instinct as plus 2 recruit rank. So how do we use the Terradon Rider units? Against factions without ranged weapons, or with extremely minimal ones like Vampire Counts, these are your lures, and you can get not just Fellbats and Terrageists to follow you home, but other things as well if you annoy them enough. You should assume you are not going to destroy entire units with this before something gives chase. You should assume you have to beat it to home base and get Skirmisher and Chameleon Skink support for beating them away with a stick. and darts. Lots of blowdowns. The end result is that for minimal damage and losses, or so you hope, you've whittled down entire enemy units that would otherwise bog you down. Sometimes you even get Manfred flying in to gang up on him. And it's Manfred, everybody wants him to die again anyway. Against factions with ample ranged weapons, you have to be careful in how you approach things to ensure you do not take losses for nothing. Since you don't have your own Fellbats, you might end up using Terradon riders as artillery smashers, and they can be very adequate for that role. Past that, you're looking at what you can whittle down, and sometimes your choices are dictated by what you can survive annoying, not what you have a weapon damage advantage against. If you've caught Reiksguard out of formation and are javelining them to weaken them, the Reiksguard can do nothing to you. Absolutely nothing. Poison also weakens whatever is trying to attack your Saurus front line, if that's what you're rocking. And remember, there is a decent amount of armor-piercing damage, so hitting those Reiksguard is not wasted. Fireleech bolas should be treated like fighter bombers with small area napalm. They aren't entirely as dramatic as Outriders with grenade launchers, but they can do a lot of the same job while their ammunition remains up. Left to their own devices, they can decimate line infantry. In missile duels, it's less in their favor, but they can win some of those. Basically, you want to make life as hard as possible for the enemy while keeping something left of your forces, and the rest is scavenger-like taking advantage of the situation. Deep strikes if you can manage, close air support where possible. And if none of that is viable, it is no shame to keep them as reserve behind your lines until the state of the battle makes it viable. Of course, usage will explode under Tiktaq'to, but short of that, they're not that expensive. They're aerial skirmishers, treat them as such, and balance the fact you need damage out of them with wanting them to survive, if possible. Take care, and have fun combining flaming attacks with flammable from ancient salamanders. Fun for the whole genus.